And today we're going to be talking about the home buying process. Welcome back. It's Marcus Allgood, JPAR Coast County here in Fairhope, Alabama. I appreciate everybody watching my videos. The home buying process can be a lot of fun and it can be really stressful, especially if you don't have a plan of action going into the buying process. So if you watched my video before, the first step should be getting a pre-approval letter, and that's going to make things just a lot easier, and it's going to let you, it's basically going to, you're not going to get so many negative things. Like, you're not going to go into a $500,000 house saying this is the house that you want, and then realize you only qualify for $300,000 home. You know, we're all about setting our expectations high, but don't be so unrealistic to where we're just wasting other agents' times, and you're wasting our time, and wasting the person who lives in that house's time, things like that. So number one, we want to narrow down the area of where you want to look for. So in Fairhope, the Eastern Shore, you got Fairhope, you got Daphne, you got Spanish Fort, you got the Montrose area, you got Point Clear, you got down by the bay in Daphne and Fairhope, you got the Fruit and Nut District in Fairhope. And you also want to kind of look at the different schools. I mean, the Eastern Shore has very good schools. I think it goes Spanish Fort, Fairhope, and then Daphne. All very top-rated schools. It just depends on what you're looking for. Are your kids athletic? Do they want to be in the top athletic school there is? Do they want to be scholars? All sorts of different options you can have. Or do you want to be close to the school? Do you want to be out in the country? Do you want to be in central Baldwin County? So much to choose from. So we got to narrow all that down to what you're looking for in a home. Number two, after we go ahead and narrow that down, we can start looking at some homes and figuring out what you're looking for in a house. Find out what you want. You gotta find out if you want to open or unopened floor plan, meaning that the kitchen leads out to the living room, and you have a great big area that's kind of like a party area where you can wine and dine your friends and things like that. Or if you wanted a closed off kitchen to where it's actually a room, and you could keep the kids in the other room and you don't have to hear them while you're cooking, and you could just have little private conversations in the kitchen instead of the whole house hearing it. Do you want tall cabinets, short cabinets? Do you want a lot of cabinets? Do you want a small amount of cabinets? Do you want a backyard? Do you want acreage? And looking at different houses, you're going to be able to get the feel for it, because if you walk up on a house that they're just like plopped on top of each other, compared to having a house and you got almost a half acre to where you got some space on the sides of the house and you got space on the back of the house, it's going to feel a lot different, and of course it's going to look a lot different. And you never know, you might want them stacked on top of each other because you don't want to take care of that much yard. So number three, after we go look at some houses and see what they look like, and we get a good feel of what we're looking for in a house, number three is going to be figure out your wants. Like, what are your wants? What are your must-haves? And your needs. Like, your needs are going to supersede the wants. Wants are just kind of, sometimes it's just like the dream. Well, if I could get this, then I would have it. But the needs are what you actually need to live in the house. So it's going to narrow it down. Like the square foot, you're going to need, if you need a 3-bedroom, but you're looking at a 2-bedroom, that's not going to work out. If you need a 3-bedroom and you're looking at a 4-bedroom, is it too much house? You never know. And a want is going to be more like, I would love to have a pool in the backyard. It's not necessary, but it would be nice. That's more of a want there. So we're going to look at square footage, the schools, the area that you're living in. Do you want to be like on a cul-de-sac? Do you want to be first person in the neighborhood? Do you want to be in the middle of the neighborhood? Do you want a smaller, bigger lot like we talked about? How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? Do you want a half bath? Do you want granite? Do you want formica? Do you want custom-made cabinets, or you just want some thrown up there cabinets? Do you want wood shelves in the closet, or do you want the wire shelving that kind of standard in lower end homes? Things like that. Like, there's no perfect home, but we can make a list of all these different things that we need and then what we want. And so then number 4 or actually, once we do that, we can actually check off as many as that we can, and then we can pick out like 3 or 4 homes and say, okay, this met 5 out of 6 of my needs, and then met 2 out of 10 of my wants, and then the next home met 3 out of 6 of my needs and met 7 out of 10 of my wants. So then we can compare those two and just go back and forth on them and actually talk about it and go look at them a couple times and figure out which one really settles into your heart of which house is best for you. Then once we do that, we get to the fun part. Number 4, you get to write an offer, and that's gonna like, in this market, it's gonna be crazy. But writing the offer is gonna be one of the most fun things you can do. And it's gonna be kind of fun because your heart's gonna be kind of pounding when you're writing this offer up with your agent, and you know, you're gonna get that waiting period to see if they accept it or if they counter it. It's a fun little like mouse and cat and mouse game that you get to play with the other realtor, and you know, it can be stressful, but it can also be fun at the same time. And I like to try and make it fun, and most of the other realtors out there like to try and make it fun. And they're always, it is about business, but it's still about fun. So writing the offer is going to be the last step. So let's go recap it real quick. Number 1, narrow down the area. Number 2, looking at homes, going out there searching, finding out what you want, what's cool, what's not, what your needs are. Number 3, writing your needs down and your wants down and checking off all the boxes that we can to find that perfect house. And number 4, you're going to write the offer, have a good time, and just make sure you write a good offer. We'll make sure you write a good offer. We'll make sure everything's intact, and we'll get you going. And I appreciate it. Like I said, Marcus Allgood, JPAR Coast and County here in Fairhope, Alabama.